hello and yay to another episode of Shittywebcomics Weekly. As usual, these episodes are brought to you by our nice, happy, cool backers on Subscribestar, linked in the description below, where you can get access. You can support us and get access to tons of our secret videos that you're not allowed to watch anywhere else. If you want to suggest a webcomic or ask a question, check out our Curious Cat, also linked below. We're going to be pretty perfunctory again with this week because, for good reason at least.
Perfunctory.
We'll just cover a few Sinfest things, and then also, because one thing about Sinfest, it is reliable. It comes out constantly, so it's reliable to go fucking, and it's consistently bad too. It's not even unpredictably bad; it's predictably bad. Which
That's
is
the thing is, it's the fucking narrative has changed, but it has not gotten better.
Yeah, I think some people even tried to imply, is he going based or something? Well, that's why in fact, that's why we started doing Shitty Webcomics Weekly, is because people are like, oh no, Sinfest, it's going based or more crazy because he's now woke, anti-woke, rad femme, turf, all that other shit. Anyways, just huffing some nasal decongestion. It's it's sort of like Cools, because I like Cools, minty flavor.
Anyway,
the
fucking reality tours. I guess the first.
Yes, you're looking at that here. I'm gonna look at the latest one, and then we'll just go in reverse order because it makes less sense, but it also doesn't make any less sense either.
It won't matter either way.
Yeah, so I was going to say something else about the other comic we're going to cover now regularly and weekly, but I'll get to that in a minute. The latest comic is a stand-up comedian, and there's no chairs, join the woke revolution. It's really just restating what he's already done the past few months of comics about, but it's like a guy who's like, oh, I'm a rad femme and all this, and for some reason the cops are chasing him because he's anti-woke or too woke or something. He has the Black Lives Matter, power fist, gay flag, all that stuff. They shoot him and he lands in the toxic stuff, and he comes out and he's the Joker. Not only is the Joker, but has the clown emoji. One of his pins on his jacket went from heart emoji to clown emoji, so the fucking toxic waste changed the pins he was wearing.
Changed his suit too. It went from a regular suit to the purple suit.
Yeah, maybe dyed his suit.
The exact colors of the Joker.
Yeah, at least he's not. Here's the weird thing, though. You go previous on that one, a couple pages, and oh wait, here, this one. And it's the killing woke, and it's the exact same thing, where he's stand-up comedian, falls into a vat of toxic wokeness, and reemerge as the woker. I didn't fail, society did. And so it's the exact same fucking comic. And it's like, okay, thanks for doing another page of the same premise. Just reuse your ideas, I suppose. It comes off as a little lazy, though. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Although it's no longer a GIF. That's
yeah.
For
at least
sure.
These
that's
aren't
clear.
GIFs.
They're no longer GIFs, but we did definitely complain about that to begin with, which means he's listening to this right now. He's watching these videos.
I gotta say, who else does videos on YouTube about Sinfest? I don't think a single person has even done any.
I mean, I'm not looking it up either because I don't care enough.
I'm not going to. But even if, like, say you looked it up and found, like, a couple people doing it, you might find a few people who are former fans who are like, what's happening? And like, they're boring.
I don't know
people.
What's
They're
happening.
Not interesting. They don't have
He's
interesting
ruined
takes.
his own. They're going to be like, he ruined his own comic. It used to be really great. That's exactly what all these people are always like. Is like, oh, the comic used to be really great. Penny Arcade used to be really great, but now it's terrible. And it's like,
yeah,
it's
you
the
know
exact same.
That's actually another comic that I haven't even thought about for years is Penny Arcade. You just mentioned Penny Arcade. I'm like, Oh yeah, Penny Arcade used to exist. I don't even
Well,
have it
the reason
bookmarked.
why that's the thing though is I remember in particular we started doing the blog and it's like, oh, where are all the pig and bald edits?
Yeah,
Let's
remember
post as many
those?
of those as we can find. I know I saved a bunch of them when I used to read V back in 2009.
Yeah, because V actually had funnier takes about Penny Arcade than Penny Arcade had about video games.
Well, I mean, there's also I think there were people who were doing edits from I guess CEO back then or whatever,
I
some
think
kind
they were
of
from B, to be honest.
yeah, probably. Yeah.
Hmm.
But there's also the no longer so flat where they're
Oh
just
yeah, that's
throwing
right.
in animu girl bullshit.
Captain did the edit of the edit. Where fucking, I think it was some characters from, I don't fucking know,
Yeah,
fucking Disgia or some shit. I don't even know how
Before
that's pronounced.
Loss was actually before Loss became a big deal, there was actually like Penny Arcade pig and bald edits as well as just edits and my favorite still being the fucking do you see the animal inside? It's just a close up of his eye.
Oh, no, it wasn't a
And
close up of his eye. It was just very subtly, if you looked into his eyeball, there was a cartoon pig inside of his eyeball because in real life, he's pig like. I mean, the whole joke about that, and this is such classic, vintage, old fashioned classic shit. It's even classic fucking 4chan and goes to show that we were before we were before the term summer fag.
yes, we're so old fag,
Yes,
ancient fag.
embarrassingly old fag. As really a lot of our, like a jerk and nice mod also are. We go from all the way back, but I
How far
still
are we
wouldn't even
going back?
consider us
Way back.
4chaners necessarily. It was just a
No.
site that I used to read for fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. Back then, I might have considered myself part of that, but I fucking left after a while because of all the sweet summer fags.
Yes, but I mean, there's a
Sweet.
lot of other reasons. Other things like we were a little too hip for the party, you could say.
Yeah,
I would constantly
above and
be
beyond.
banned by fucking people who were just like really sensitive and whiny.
Yeah,
People
again,
would report
they
my
were
posts in
starting
my
to get
threads.
invaded by mods and fags.
Yeah,
Just the typical behavior that you would see on other forums, where it had to be their personal hug box.
yeah.
Before it was called a safe space, it was called a hug box.
And that's the weird thing is when you notice on 4chan before the whole summer fag thing, when you notice that 4chan was building its own hug boxes too. In fact, CO was the first proper one. CO, well, A actually was the first proper one, but even A would try to have a sense of humor about anime, and if you went and trashed anime, they were a little more used to it than usual. Like they
Partly
couldn't take
because they got
actual
trashed.
criticism of anime, but
They got
still,
trashed the most. It was
yeah,
like one of the first places before MLP or any
yeah.
shit like that. It was these fucking weeaboos who
And they
just had
deserved it, of
absolute
course.
shit taste.
They
Yeah,
they deserved it just as much as any MLP fan. But thing is that
and that's
MLP
actually
became the easy target.
this is also why 8chan had to die because it was a place where if you were getting banned or you wanted to talk about something and not have to worry about moderators, you could just make your own board. And so people were doing
Hmm.
that, and there were a lot of boards. There were like three different Star Trek boards for all kinds of different things. It's like a mod would come along, they would ruin the original board, somebody would make an alternative,
Yeah, that
and
happened to the
then
GamerGate
that
board.
board would get popular.
There was the GamerGate board. Then there was GG Revolt. I also remember, of course, one of the boards I always loved was the Bane posting board.
There was also Baphomet, which was like the fucking, it was the Gamergate actual, is like the actual activity board for people who were like going after the dreaded
But it was also
SJWs.
like the doxing board, where eventually, like they were not necessarily turning on themselves and each other, but it was like the implosion board, where they were just fucking going
And then there was V,
complete
which
mentally
all
ill.
V on 8chan also had its own Gamergate like sticky thread.
Yeah,
It was
where
like a
people could say
permanent
whatever they
thread.
wanted. That was actually the most free to speak board of all.
And there were boards across the fucking wall, just across the board, you could even say.
Across the board. Well,
Fucking
the
all across
political board
8chan.
was the real terror to the normie cattle or the feds or
But it
whatever.
really wasn't anything that special. It has never been and will never be anything other than a shit-talking board.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is that they couldn't get mods to come in and ban everyone. So because they even had mods on CO on 8chan that would ban you if you mentioned us.
I can't believe we got one page in and we're not talking about comics anymore, but this is probably the best episode of Shittywebcomics Weekly
Yes.
that
It's
we've ever
almost
done.
it's almost like the webcomics themselves are relevant.
We should have wrapped them up in Cellophant. In Cell Event.
But anyway, yeah, I didn't even fucking read you didn't even link this one to me, the stupid ass Joker thing. He's got the fucking sign with
I closed it
fucking
already, but yeah.
rainbow heart earth peace sign, and then they storm into a factory for some reason, for no reason as far as I can tell, and then a cop shoots him and he falls into the vat, and then
there's like, even in the universe of this comic, there's no justification or narrative like a structure to any of this. It's just random images that are supposed to fucking carry some meaning, but it's just a bunch of dumb random bullshit that doesn't mean anything.
Then he becomes the pranker.
He becomes the pranker. They say he wants to say the N-word.
His only desire is to say the N-word.
He was right about society. We live in it. Anyways,
so anyway, there's this other page.
The other page where it's like guys, men, white men, white.
Well, this guy's not white, but it's blue collar, which is the thing they fear the most.
Orange jumpsuit, actually. It's an orange collar, I suppose.
It's the thing that they fear the most, which is fucking the rednecks and the gangstas working together.
Yeah. But also at the same time, it's like, this is exactly what Sinfest was against, was white men. White men.
White people bad.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden in this, like, again, it's the previous Sunday strip, it's like white men thinking about unhappy emojis, like an unhappy face and a rainy cloud.
And then the fucking 5 hash marks.
Yeah, he's thinking of like an emoji of southerny tomboy girls or some shit. And
it's for the characters from the other fucking previous pages.
Yeah,
so I don't know why.
Which didn't have any bearing on anything either, really.
No. Well, then again, it's not like we're reading this regularly.
But there's also, here's the thing, then truck drives by, and I guess the exhaust pipes are shooting out clown emojis, and it's like, is this about taking the clown pill? But no, even that's like too clever for this. It's the It clown from the movie It, because the movie It was a popular movie a few years ago.
Remember? And it had a clown, and clowns are a big deal nowadays. So there you go. There's a clown and some clown emojis. But, yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything. But here's the thing. The panel under this is, I'll actually straight up compliment this. This is a better panel. It's a good panel.
It should have just been this panel.
Yeah, literally this entire comic should have just been this one panel right here. And then this would have been a good comic. It would have been to the point and more interesting and all that. But it's like, here's obviously a truck that's the coronavirus.
They have the big panels on the side that is basically like promoting the product that they are hauling.
Yeah, and then also the exhaust pipes shooting out emojis of what it represents. Here, so this is coronavirus. Then the next one's like Coke, but it's
the coronavirus is very straightforward because it's just virus emojis plus virus on the side. But then the critical race theory
emojis that he straight up copied off of official emoji pages.
Yeah, those are straight up the actual emojis.
Yeah, he didn't draw new emojis. He just took the ones that existed.
And then critical race theory, which again, I mean, he had been Josh Luna levels of fucking typical Asian hate white people.
Yeah, he had been full on in favor of critical race theory basically for the past 20 years.
He had been promoting it this entire time. It's just that it wasn't called that back then.
And then the last truck is rainbow for gay, of course. And then, of course, the toothpaste flag for true.
And then regular rainbow, and then a few other colors for other gay, fake mental illnesses, but no super straight.
Yeah, we're super. I guess
super straight
would not be among these.
No, I guess it wouldn't belong because it's verboten.
But there's also a weird, bizarre, self-confused mix in the rest of these, like floating emojis. Like the hammer and sickle, but then also it looks like the guy from the fucking raid, from the January 6th protest,
I mean, I
insurrection,
think
mass
those
murder,
aren't.
Holocaust, rape,
Yeah, the worst thing to ever happen in history.
where fucking all the people in they raided the Capitol and executed thousands and thousands of politicians and fucking cops, and just like millions were dead, possibly billions. But then it's next to these
At
clown
least six.
emojis and shit.
At least six.
At least 6 people died within the country that day.
But possibly also millions.
Yeah. And then there's like Care Bear
I think they're
emojis,
supposed to be. I
clowns,
think they're supposed to
toothpaste
be
flag.
avatars, actually. Although, yeah, the fact that these are two of the same ones. Well, otherwise, I would say that they were supposed to be avatars and not emojis.
Yeah, it's hard to do. Well,
But I don't know.
this clown one is the clown emoji, and then of
Yeah.
course the pride flag, the toothpaste flag. Some of
The
these are
gay-
just different versions of the
gay
like. If you
sexual
Googled clown emoji, you would see all of these that are used on this page. But then there's the like gay guy with colored hair, and then there's a fucking juggalo in the last panel of this row for some reason. I don't know what that's supposed to represent aside from another kind of clown.
It essentially doesn't represent anything. You'd almost say that it shouldn't have its own panel.
But the final panel then also shows a bunch of ones and zeros in the air, which is supposed to represent the Matrix. The Matrix in this comics universe is the patriarchy, but then it doesn't represent the patriarchy anymore because it's all
Definitely
the
doesn't.
patriarchy
No.
wouldn't be pro-gay, pro-critical race theory.
No. Also, the idea that the patriarchy exists at all, you're mentally ill.
Yeah, it's the fact that the Matrix exists at all, you're mentally
Yeah,
ill.
making a
But-
Matrix reference at all, you're mentally
Yes.
ill.
But it's like, what do any of these have to do with each other, and why? And the last panel is just these guys from the chain gang or whatever the fuck, just looking at it.
And
that's
also
it.
the trucks are floating.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah, wait, the trucks are just floating in the air. I don't know. Who gives a fuck?
Fuck this comic. So
Yeah.
the next page of Sinfest that we're going to review.
Yeah, but I
Is,
mean, again, you look at this, and what does this even mean? What's it supposed to represent? Because right here, if you go up and it's the trucks going by with the symbols, that can represent something. But then, what does the last one represent? What's the point of the last panel? What does it add? What do any of these other panels add that wasn't at least said in this previous one? And really, what's said in this previous panel? I mean, who knows? Who cares? But here, the last page. This is the most confusing and pointless one, actually, because
This one's very bloated.
yeah.
This is a very bloated page.
But it speaks to the incoherence. This van, by the way, in the third panel here, is also floating. It's off the ground.
You know what? You're right.
But this speaks to the other aspect of the really self-confused symbolism within Sinfest that's been going for years, since before he went based or fucking red pilled or whatever the fucking stupid ass shit, is the whole reality zone, which people would cross over into the reality zone and there would be trees. It was a sign that said reality zone. You go past it and then you look slightly less cartoonish.
It's
But-
just a park, though.
Yeah, it didn't mean anything. Like, nothing changed. But then the other characters would be like, oh no, the reality zone. You can't do that. And it's like, what? You can't do what? Why? How come? Was it what does it represent? What does it mean?
But they're
What's
here
the
at the reality
reality
zone.
in this reality zone?
This is
what
just too
happens
many.
in it?
There's so many fucking panels. Just the first half of this fucking comic,
Mm-hmm.
or it's not even the first half. It's the first third. Is like fucking 7 panels.
Yeah. Well, here's 1, 2, 3,
Okay,
4,
it's
5,
six.
6, 7, 8,
There's
9.
6 fucking panels, just to show a fucking bus.
Yeah.
Driving
bus
through a gate.
Apparently the reality. But it's like, this chick wakes up in a crater, she looks, and then this bus is going through a wall that I guess is going to the reality zone, but there's no sign that says. Like, as far as we know, it's just going through a wall.
It's
There's
driving
a
through
gap
a
in the
wall that has a
it's
gate.
driving through.
It's a gate, and also there's a guy with a machine gun.
Yeah, a guy with he's got an assault rifle or an SMG or something that's just standing there, and it's like he's standing there for what? To prevent something from getting out or going in, but the bus is going in,
The
but
bus is
it's
floating in. The
yeah,
bus has the
it's
gift
floating
of
in.
flight. I guess it's landing.
But
It's kind of landing.
why is it regulated that this is going in and there's tours of people just
Yeah,
standing
are you
around and it's
maybe?
just trees.
I guess it's like, oh, reality is restricted, but it's like, are you laying this on a little too thick or not thick enough
But
with
of
a guard
what?
with fucking riot armor and a fully automatic machine gun and barbed wire, and there's like lights at the top of the fucking gate? Do you think maybe this is a little too fucking busy? Maybe
But
it's a little, you're laying it on a little
to
too thick for
represent
the
what though?
stupids.
What's it saying? What's it saying about reality here? That it's walled off or something? Because it's not, or that
Yeah,
people
that
are touring it and they're
because
buying T-shirts of it
they're
because
not.
about what?
They're not.
Yeah, and what's
There's
happening?
buzzer going on. There's a gift shop
Yeah,
also.
what are the consequences of this reality zone? What does it mean? What happens when people go into it, and why does it matter if they go into it or not? What
Why does
exactly is
it matter if
happening?
they go into it? Why does it matter if they leave? And she's just standing outside the front of the thing.
Yeah.
You would think, yeah, this place is so protected. You would think they're going to at least maybe try and stop her from entering
But
or
also,
something.
where
Should
are
she
they
be
going from
arrested?
the reality zone to what? Because what's different about this area versus the other area?
Yeah, they're driving into another park or something. What makes that place more or less reality?
And the thing is that you could say, well, maybe that's the message of this is that it doesn't actually mean anything. But in the comic, and I only know this
It's
from
not in the
reading
comic.
the old pages, it actually does represent something because something's supposed to happen to the characters after they go into
He
it.
forgot to put it in. It's kind of like in fucking adaptations. Like you
Yeah.
got to go back, put in the fucking point of your
Put in the
comic.
drama. You got to put in the actual point. And
In
also
this
the
case,
sign
he
here is
forgot.
it says closed to the public, but the public just went in. They're touring it, so it's not actually closed to
So
the public.
it's
It's
not
just
closed to the public.
regulated in some way to the public, but in what way and why? And again, what the fuck does it mean? What's the fucking point? And there's no answer. There's never been like this has been established as a part of the comic, but it's never meant anything.
Do these people
So
not want to go to the reality zone if it's walled off like this? But they're touring it, and they got a fucking shirt. This was so important, apparently. This guy got a shirt that says "Straight Out of Reality." Wow, that's really clever.
and there's a foam finger that says reality zone, but it's like so are they fucking is it something different because again you look at the rest of this and you would assume it's like the joke of this is supposed to be that it's not any different from the stuff outside, but in universe it is, and Tatsuya established that. So again, there's just nothing but questions that don't make sense, and he's just doing the here's what Sinfest is actually about. It's about ideas that are supposed to mean something, but when you think about them, they're completely incoherent. And Tatsuya doesn't intend to answer any of these or think about them because he's just like, well, it's the reality zone. It's like, yeah, what does that mean? And he's like, it's the reality zone, though.
You have
He
to
doesn't know.
understand
You
it.
could tell he
It's
doesn't know.
actually it's metaphorical for a lot of deep ideas. No, that
Yeah,
would have come through in your
that's the
comic if
thing.
you could have
What
done it. If
ideas?
you could have
Okay,
done it, it would be there.
what are the ideas then? Well, it's a lot of deep ones, and you could tell Tatsuya just has no
And that's
fucking
also
clue.
why the art style is so heavily aping Calvin and Hobbes too.
Yeah,
He thinks he's on that level,
and I was
and
like,
he's
I closed
so
that.
not.
I closed that, but again, there. Whenever we catch up with Sinfest, it's just another establishment of how incoherent it is. Um,
It's trying so hard. It's the worst kind of pretentiousness.
our
Is
other,
somebody who really thinks that
yeah,
he's fucking
that's
hit on.
yeah.
Look at what nobody's fucking done this before. Yeah, they have.
Or they haven't done it before because it's stupid. Yes, of course they haven't done it
There's
before. It doesn't
yeah,
make any sense.
it's not saying anything.
Anyway, Za. Moving on to our new. And again, before we start covering this, I want to establish that I guess every week for of the Shitty Webcomics Weekly, we can now cover Tomahawk Angel because it updates apparently weekly. Or, if it doesn't update. Here's the thing. I'll give the comic this. Aside from the art being appealing to look at, and usually elaborate, is that it's punctual. In fact, I think this update's a little early. I think this is like a day early or something. Or no, it's Sunday, so you know what? It's on time, which is fine. If he missed a week, I'd be like, well, he clearly draws a lot and that kind of shit. So I'm not bothered by the fucking puncture. Like if he was late, I wouldn't act like he's another Aaron Diaz in the making. Um, but because Aaron Diaz would go, Aaron Diaz of Dresden Kodak. For those who are new to Shitty Webcomics, because we used to cover Dresden Kodak. We used to cover Penny Arcade all the time too. In fact, those were good. Those were really good posts where we would rip apart Penny Arcade's attempts to be serious, like the fucking the Dungeons and Dragons playgrounds children's adventure shit. That was really pretentious, and the art was like even worse than usual because he was trying to be
pretentious,
serious.
and it was also pointless.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever.
It was trying to be too intentionally vague with its storytelling, so it would be like, "Oh, the child goes into the woods, and then what happens? Wouldn't you like to know? Perhaps he disappeared." And then that's it. That's it. That's the end of the comic. And it's like, "Wow,
Would
this
you like
sucks."
to know what happens? Well, maybe we can guess what happens, and then nothing happens.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be like find out what happens when we make a book of this or whatever. It would just be like, and that was the end, and perhaps it's mysterious, perhaps it's unknown, and then it would like show a close up of a feather, and it'd be like, perhaps we don't know just fucking the intentionally vague ending that's trying to act too mysterious, but it's really gay and pretentious. And anyways. But yeah, Dresden Kodak, we tried to review regularly, but he had a Patreon. Aaron Diaz had a Patreon for Dresden Kodak that would take money monthly, but like a month or two could pass without a single new comic. Then a new comic would come out. It wouldn't even be like larger than usual or something. But even if it was, that's stupid to take money for when you're fucking not putting out work on your Patreon. And we would go after him for that. And of course, it didn't matter usually. Because,
Something we
course,
ourselves never fucking. We never did that. We would always, we get money for our Patreon, and we'd
yeah, our
always
Patreon was just to support us, but we were constantly making posts. Usually because I would write, sometimes I would be really bored in the middle of the night and write this giant post about a bunch of shit, and fucking, sometimes about a fucking comic, sometimes about life itself. But we would, shit, I remember like not redlining necessarily, but like picking apart fucking Dresden Kodak and Penny Arcade, and we did that fucking even after we had supposedly stopped reviewing comics, but that was some of our best shit, and it's gone. It's all gone now, and I don't fucking give a shit. Fuck you, motherfucker. But anyways.
For us, it's something that will always be with us. We don't need to keep those things.
Yeah, it's part of our lives.
It's something that should be preserved because it's clear that no one else is replicating it. We're so far ahead of everybody else.
It's like having hair on my head. It's just a part of who I am. I am here. I am here. Bring it on. Knickers. What?
Knickers. You gotta make sure to go in with a hard CK.
Yes.
But we also have better hair than certain other wrong drinking from the wrong grail ass looking motherfuckers.
Anyway, so yeah, Sinfest, we know we can reliably have a new Sunday comic, a bunch of other comics if we want to, but I don't want to cover like 6 pages of Sinfest every week. I'll just cover 1. 3 is okay, because we're catching up. But the other thing is that we also, on our Subscribe Star now, instead of our Patreon, our Subscribe Star right now still has new episodes of our reading with us and Nice Mod of Lightbringer, and that's going up. So again, if you want even more reviewing of webcomics and reading,
it's like the first 80 pages of Lightbringer.
Yeah, we actually, I was surprised. I was like, oh, part 3, maybe we'll do another part, and we ended up doing 2, like the last 2 parts, 4 and 5, are almost an hour long each, and we read so much more of it than I even expected. It was fucking... Those episodes are great, and only Subscribe Star backers can see them. So you're missing out if you're not donating to our Subscribe Star.
Partly because instead of just reading the whole thing in careful detail, we make fun of it a whole lot, and then we zip through a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, we actually were skimming a bunch of it, but we're still constantly tearing it to shreds.
Just looking for anything that would make us laugh. And just being like, holy shit, look at this page.
Yeah, we found more stuff than I ever expected. So again, if you're not donating to our Subscribe Star, you're missing out. Only $1. The $1 tier gets access to all of our videos about...
It's a more than $1 value.
Yeah.
If anything, you're ripping us off.
Yeah, you're lucky. You only have to pay $1 to read those. And we already did get like another new subscriber on the site, which is quite nice. But again,
we should.
I like doing these free ones too. I like doing the free episodes where we talk about.
That was actually one of the things, though, is for those Lightbringer comics is at some point, because we skip ahead so much. It's like, okay, where's the list of the comics? And underneath each page is like a calendar thing, and we'll actually list like, oh, check out this page. It's like January 17. Fucking whatever 2000
or it's like this one I'm looking at the one for October 3rd, and I have to say that was kind of always one of my favorite features from Comic Genesis, used to be known as Keen Space, but they would have it so you could put the little calendar underneath each page, and you could just click from calendar to like month to month and fucking click.
And it would show which page you were on, and it would show which page had been published on what day.
And it would also show you which pages you had already looked at too, usually. I think the WordPress Comic Press plugin had that feature too, from what I remember, which goes to show we know more about comics than even fucking comics pros.
Look how much better the webcomics, just as a system, the way webcomics work better.
See, that's the thing. That fuck the entire infinite canvas shit. That's actually what I want, is to be able to go from chapter to chapter at like a click of a drop-down menu or a fucking calendar fucking little widget or something. Just something simple.
Just press a button and be like, there, that's where I left off. I will continue where I left off.
And the whole infinite scrolling thing I'm fine with too, but that's because I'm used to reading comics off of stuff like 4chan, where you could just have a giant long image file that you scroll down and scroll down and scroll down, because people would just make stuff in like MS Paint that would just be one long image that you scroll all the way down. And so that's where stuff like Webtoon sort of gets the... Infinite Canvas didn't start with Webtoon or 4chan even, but the fact that you can scroll as you read and just keep going, it's sort of just an alternative to the guided view that something like Comixology has. But a guided view works for something that's like a solid, almost print comic book, whereas Infinite Canvas works for anything, theoretically. And that's why... I don't hate it, but I don't love it, because it's simply, to me, it's just simply an avenue to show your story. And so it exists, and I basically do like any way that it works, especially as long as it's not difficult. Like, some people are like, oh, it's just too weird, and it's like, it works for me. I scroll through the image and I read the story.
It's designed for people to be able to fucking read normally.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a you problem.
Yeah, if you have a problem with how you're reading a comic when this story is coherent, no matter how it is, that's a YP. But MPYP, I don't understand all this industry jargon. That kind of thing.
That is what we're talking. That was an idea. I don't know. Are we going to do it as a separate video? The whole thing about just because I was thinking about like. The webcomics people would recommend to us is like, check out this webcomic, it's totally shit. And we'd read it and it's like, oh, that was a shitty webcomic. And now we're trying to review like cape shit and print comics, and it's like, you could just see, as bad as those webcomics were, there was clear actual desire and passion to make what they made.
You know,
as
yeah, I think
opposed to the print comics.
This is worth bringing up here. We could have done a separate video about it, but it would be
We
behind
should.
the paywall. I think what we should actually is, before we cap off with reading the latest Tomahawk Angel, I think we should just, as such a wonderful free bonus to our viewers, our higher class, our higher tier of person viewers.
Ascended.
Yes.
Ascended listeners.
If you're watching this right now, you're better than most comic book readers, because most comic book readers are giant fags. Anyways,
whoa, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot of really bad things, considering we know that fucking water closet and CG refugees are listening to us.
They sure are, and very bitterly, usually out of spite and hate. But they can't stop listening to us. They can't control it. They can't help it.
And they are incredibly stupid and pathetic losers of the lowest order.
But they're still above the people, especially the people that they look down, who are usually their supporters, their patrons,
it's like
their backers.
How deep does the hole go?
Yeah, how far beneath the bottom of the barrel are your average comic book fans? Because they're beneath even that.
And believe me, I've experienced a little bit of that. Reading some of their comments when they're like praising their favorite tape shit, and it's like, whoa, this person is so retarded they probably can't operate a motor vehicle.
They have the worst taste in anything.
Like, even I would rather talk to a Rage Against the Machine fan or a fucking Linkin Park fan.
Well, not really, but yeah, I suppose.
No, I'm not going to. The point is, I'm not going to, but I would rather talk to them than somebody who liked fucking Rob Liefeld era cape shit.
Yeah, I have to say, it's usually a bad sign when somebody has either Funko Pops and or DVDs and figurines. Well, DVDs maybe, but if they're DVDs of like pop culture shit, like cape shit, but also DVDs and figurines, or even worse, is Funko Pops and comic books lining the walls. You know that's a person you want nothing to do with.
Yeah, when they have like a framed or slabbed comic book cover.
Or just if it's in a plastic bag and they've taped it to the wall.
Mm-hmm. And nailed it to the wall. Whatever.
One of the only things here's things I have on my wall. A shelf. There's another shelf over there. There's some hooks for
there's books on those shelves, though. There's actual books.
Yeah, real books. There's also some Kleenex on the shelf. There's some pills on the shelf. My medications. Allopurinol. And fucking...
what is the fucking anti-gas pill?
Oh, yes. There's some simethicone. That's on one of the other bookshelves by the omeprazole. But what's the fucking cholesterol medication that we're both on?
Well, maybe we shouldn't give away our fucking medication, our medical maladies.
Yeah, let's not go that far. But you know what? Also on the shelves, a little jar of toothpicks. But and then nailed to the wall. Here's a hook with my headphones behind my monitor. Here's a calendar, the Common America calendar. And then further in the back there is a drawing that Tim Lim did of Laylee that I had framed. Just
so that's
cheaply.
Worth framing. That is worth framing,
because,
first of all.
Because it was a very special thing to me when Tim Lim did fan art, fucking, like, straight up fan art in real life meat space on a physical thing. It's like, oh shit. Technically, I could print the fan art that I've gotten of Laylee too, but... it's this one is cool because he sent it in a box with some of the other Common America books, or I think Black Ops 2 specifically. When he sent that to us in a special, but it wasn't even one of the custom mailer boxes. It was just
what was that fucking
box.
That Half-Life 2 source mod that was like, the meat space and versus the cyber world.
Oh yeah, fuck. Yeah, the one where you did cyber hacking and then you would go out and shoot people. That one was really cool. What was that called? Fuck.
I forgot. I
think it's on Steam, but yeah, I don't think anyone plays it, but it was really cool.
It was like one of the first source mod games to ever come out.
And to actually
came out.
To actually be made and worked on
at
all.
Half-Life 2 came out, and then like a week or two later, this mod came out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really cool. Although it had problems. It was basically just like two team deathmatch.
Yeah, you know what it sort of reminds me is the Fallout mod for Half-Life 1. That was just like some of the Fallout weapons, like the Deagle and the Pancor Jackhammer. Then it was just deathmatch, and it had like some custom sounds and shit. But it had some really good models and sounds.
It also had like randomized damage rolls. It's like if you get shot in the head, you might get fucking insta killed,
Yeah,
or it might be.
to some little extent. Boy, that was some cool shit. But
It was cool shit, but that was also it should have been the introduction to something new and cool, and it wasn't.
yeah, I
It
kind of
never
wish
went
some of the
anywhere.
resources were reused, but whatever.
It never went anywhere.
Um, anyways, I guess we were gonna talk about Tomahawk Angel, and I guess we can review it every
I
week,
guess.
especially because this bothers
Yes.
people. Um,
Yes. Now we can. Yeah. Now, first off, now that we know that it's not really special enough to have its own unique reviews. It's just another shitty webcomic.
yeah, it's not good. The thing is that this is clearly not as bad as a lot of other webcomics we could
No.
review.
That is the thing. That is the thing that I want to make sure people understand is there's at least actual desire to get this made by the
Oh yeah,
creator as opposed to cape shit.
that was the other topic actually, and we were thinking of doing a separate video, but I think we should just talk
We
about it
should.
in here.
Well, I think we kind of mentioned it. We kind of teased it for people later on. We'll fucking do a full video about it
Maybe
in
I don't know.
another video, or maybe not, but we should.
Yeah, we should. And again, that this is the kind of in-depth shit that we go into constantly on the videos that are on our Subscribe Star.
We're
Where
so far ahead, just light years ahead of the competition, light
yeah,
years ahead of the whole human race.
basically every single video on our Subscribe Star is a deep dive, and every 5 days there's a new video coming out, going all the way into November. Basically, just as it is, and we plan to record even more already that are just going to be sitting around, and
By the time they go up all the way at the end of the queue, they will still be ahead of the curve. Fucking
but also history will have changed. In fact, there's been a few examples of we did a video about this or that, and then the stuff we did a video about or even wrote notes about ended up coming true like a year later. There's videos we did about Comicsgate and Richard and fucking Ethan and that kind of stuff. And then it turned out like to be worse than we predicted. We were like, oh, Comicsgate is actually very dishonest and missing the point about this. And then all of a sudden, like months would go by and Comicsgate would have like this giant like internal meltdown where they were all attacking each other. And it's like,
or you'd
holy
hear
shit.
about somebody being brought up on charges
Yeah.
for something.
There's a bunch of examples, not just of that, but that's the first thing that comes to mind is all the times we called that something's wrong with this, and then something comes out. The same thing
Sure
happened
enough.
with Ethan Ralph, where months in advance we were like, something's wrong with Ethan Ralph. He was weirdly disingenuous.
We were both on a show with him,
Yeah.
and
In
it was
fact,
like,
I was
whoa,
on. I was
Ethan.
on with Ethan Ralph a few times, very briefly before then. But then me and you were on with him, and accidentally got him to have a weird little meltdown.
We revealed his true nature, which is as a shill and grifter.
Yeah, as a dishonest person, like people see shill and grifter, and doesn't even mean anything to them anymore because they just hear those words all the time. We revealed Ethan Ralph to be an innately dishonest and cowardly person, by his nature in a way he can't control, beyond like his alcoholism and his drug addiction.
Yeah,
And
no,
the whole thing like that.
the alcoholism doesn't even matter to me.
Yeah, that's
That doesn't
irrelevant.
matter.
And
That
it
doesn't mean anything.
anything. He is a dishonest person on the face of it.
And we are the ones who revealed it.
Anyways,
No one else did.
so
We did it first.
we're going to be ending with Tomahawk Angel, the new Tomahawk Angel, because it just came out, and also most importantly is because it's here and it's like it's here for the week and we'll just cover it. It's an easy fucking throw it up on the thing and be like, oh, look at it, because there's always something goofy about it. So scrolling down, and we haven't covered some of the recent ones. On our
This one,
Discord we have,
yeah.
and I guess I could link to the Discord in the description
We
below
can
if I
link to the
feel like
Discord
it.
because there's a whole bunch more content on our Discord.
Yeah.
You want to see what we're really doing and talking about.
Yeah, really, if you want to fucking keep up, if you want to keep up like a year ahead of Kiwi Farms or any of the Chans, you can watch our videos. But if you want to keep up ahead of our videos, you can check out our Discord, which is where the newest shit and the most ahead of the curve, the things that everyone else will be saying in a year, we're saying right now on our Discord. And that's not my opinion or speculation or my supposition or any of that. That's what other people have come to us and been like, wow, that thing you guys were saying a year ago that got completely proven true. I can't believe you guys called it so long ago. It's like, yeah, that's ordinary for us. Anyways, Tomahawk Angel, a couple chapters ago, they finally introduced the part that's supposed to have PewDiePie in it. And
Oh yeah, we finally got PewDiePie, but it looks nothing like
yeah,
PewDiePie.
it looked kind of like him for a second at the end of a chapter, and then the next chapter didn't look anything like him. And then you'll see here in this fucking, he's flying a drone that spotted, our hero protagonist, and then a monster comes and eats it, and then it's scrolling and scrolling. There's way too much of this extra dead space, though. This is pointless amounts of extra dead space, and it's
I
just
mean,
getting
for
more
me, it's not
obnoxious.
so much about the pointless amounts of extra dead space as much as it is just like it's taking so long to fucking scroll past all this shit.
Yeah, and then here's this. Here's again. This is supposed to be the PewDiePie character who's flying the thing, and then
PewDiePie is really ugly.
yeah, it looks nothing like him anymore, and his facial features have changed again from the previous chapter that already didn't look like him. And he's like, "Oh no, I lost visual," and then a helicopter, and they're like, "Oh no," and so they drop in a fucking soldier, and he's like, "Drop your weapons," so they
I
drop
do
their
want to point out
weapons.
something, and this is kind of more of a petty complaint, but they're flying like an Apache helicopter, and a guy fucking ropes down out of the fucking helicopter.
Yeah, yeah.
And like the
Apaches
only
don't
way,
drop troops at all. You
yeah,
can't do
no,
that.
it does only drop one person, so I could imagine maybe they have a rope and the fucking co-pilot got out or something, or the gunner or somebody like that,
Yeah,
because
but
only one person gets
yeah,
out.
an Apache has two seats, one for like the pilot, one for the gunner, or something.
Yeah,
But
it's not a troop carrier.
yeah, in order for them to get out, one of these hatches would have to be opened, and instead they just sort of drop from the middle or something. It doesn't show.
Just kind of from out of nowhere.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. But
Whatever.
yeah,
It's
that
not.
doesn't bother me. It is
Yeah,
kind of a
not a,
nitpick, I suppose, unless you're
yeah, it's
fucking a comrade. Then
a
you're fucking
fucking
gonna be you're gonna be
military,
clip raging at that shit.
fucking clip raging military Asperger's fucking
Mm.
shit.
Yeah,
The thing that does bother me though is like, it's like, oh, they're ordering them to surrender for some reason, even though they're humans. I don't know.
yeah. What
It's
are
just,
they
I guess there's
surrendering to,
curfew.
and why? And why doesn't she want to surrender? See, that's the thing. He's dropping his weapons, surrendering. It's like, what exactly are the consequences to this? What happens if they get taken in? What if they surrender? We don't
Yeah, is
really
there
know. It's not.
curfew?
None of that's established.
Are they up past their bedtime? What the
Yeah.
fuck is supposed to be at stake
Yeah,
here?
exactly. What are the stakes? What are the risks? And she immediately with it's weird that the hair eye is just like this sort of
She
half
needs
tone
a hair.
transparency.
She needs a hair clip.
Yeah, because she's essentially blinding herself with one eye. This soldier is useless. He has no depth perception. I think that was a reference to the wonderful motion picture Soldier with Kurt Russell.
Is it? Is it?
I don't know why I remember that because I remember that movie sucking ass, but
I remember we saw it. I barely
we
remember
rented
anything
it,
else.
and
Kurt
it was.
Russell,
I think it was
I'm
by
pretty sure.
Paul W. S. Anderson, the fucking visionary
Paul
director
W.
behind
S.
the.
Thomas Anderson.
Yes, Paul W. S. Thomas Anderson, the visionary director behind fucking
What was it? The fucking
Event Horizon and the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, great. So anyway, they're yelling at each other for some reason, and then it's like, okay, they're gonna fucking face off. We're gonna find out why this matters, and then the bat just comes up from behind him to attack him. It's like, okay, way to ruin that. Way to ruin the moment.
Yeah,
It's like this didn't need to happen. I don't care about this.
Yeah, it's a littler bat attacks. He shoots the littler bat.
It's kind of like a Deus Ex Machina. It's something you should never do.
Also, the guy says the bullets. He shoots the monster and says the bullets went through. What kind of ammo are they using? Maybe they're using bullet ammo.
Well, yeah, I guess that matters. Yeah, are they firing? You know what kind of ammo are they using? How about 5.56?
Yeah, something like that. Is it a higher grain count?
It's called an assault rifle.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not established that these things are supposed to be bulletproof in any way.
Yeah, we never got that. I know I skipped a couple of pages, or maybe one page.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I've read this entire comic so far.
Yeah, I'm wondering, was that ever established that they're bulletproof or something? Because
No.
I know she hit it. She hit it with her little hand axe, and it fucking left like a slight cut.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so yeah, they're like big. The problem is that they're very big, I guess. But no, I guess the problem is also that they're supposed to be bulletproof, or that they don't know what bullets are, or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
these are all questions that I shouldn't be asking.
It has never been established, and I'll say, I've read all the way up to this point so far because the comic is an easy read. It's not a painful read. It's not really even a slow read. It's just that when we did that comic, or when I did the comic and the video about the comic of how I redrew this Tomahawk Angel, how I redrew the beginning of it, so that it would be more concise and actually communicate its ideas better and more effectively visually instead of just with exposition dumps. Again, I still didn't know these details, and it also got people mad in ways that showed that they're effeminate. But this, at the same time, this comic is not like horrifically shitty. This is not really a comic that normally qualifies as a shitty webcomic. There's probably a lot of way worse comics that I've never heard of and would never want to read, but
yeah, we're not going out looking for shitty webcomics anymore.
This is an easy read, which makes it an easy comic to cover for these videos. That's probably why we're going to keep covering them for the weekly videos. But yes, as far as the bullets went through with it, the establishment of that. They're like, oh, it's a sky glider. What is that? What they warned us about? But I took care of it. And then a giant one eats the helicopter
over the course of like 5, 6, 7, 8 panels.
Yeah, it's fucking telegraphed so heavily, and I'm like, are the helicopter blades gonna chop through it? And if not, are the helicopter blades not made out of anything stronger or more effective than those tiny ass bullets down there? And does that matter? I don't know. Are the bullets treated with some kind of magic? And, probably yes, and that will probably be established later, but also I don't really give a shit. But the female sky glider, because the female is larger, and I'm sure a lot of people praising this comic right now would also be like, if the female is larger, it's SJW stuff, if they saw in any other comic. But in this, they're like, oh yeah,
Well, actually, it would be like both. It's like both at the same time. On the one hand, it's like the dreaded SJW stuff, and then the whatever feminists are left after the feminazi diaspora, when they all got their asses just torn in half,
ripped from the fucking back, so they got
from the destruction
in real life.
The destruction of fucking of Tumblr, where it's like, female spiders are actually bigger than the male spiders, therefore women are actually better than men.
Yeah, it's like female hyenas actually are dominant over the males, therefore they're better. And it's like, no, the opposite, in fact.
It's just an example of female and male dimorphism going the other way in
it's
another
proof
species.
Of dimorphism also, which they try to pretend doesn't exist. But that has nothing to do with this comic, of course.
but then they pretend, then they admit it exists when it comes to fucking animals, other stupid animals like hyenas and dogs
Gay
and cats
animals.
and shit. Fucking other, well, not even dogs and cats, because there is no dimorphism in those animals.
Anyways, yeah, if other people saw this comic without knowing like where it came from or who made it, like certain people, the based, well, not really based, even red pilled or any of that gay shit, but people would say that this comic was an SJW comic if they had never seen it or were not familiar with the creators in the first place. Just based on this, based on complete bullshit, of course, it's not relevant, but people would still be saying that. Because we know how people think. They're dumb. Anyways, so there's something very interesting, though. Last week, if you were on our Discord, or was it last week? It feels like 100 lifetimes ago. But I was talking about how this comic, it doesn't make sense that these characters are sticking together. It doesn't make sense that this strange female that they've just
This is
met.
another extremely important, salient, relevant point, which ultimately leads to we make a video. Then all of a sudden, the people who we're talking about, who
I
supposedly
don't think it was
had
in a
never
video,
heard of,
though. I'm not sure if it was
nobody.
even in a video. I think it was just on our Discord or something.
I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
we
even
mentioned it in a
remember.
video. It's just that it was behind the paywall. But it's like all these people are like, "Oh, you're nobody. You're nothing. Nobody." It's usually nothing. Nobodies who say that to us.
But
But
also,
we
it's people
mention
who are like,
one of these
"Who are you to
critiques.
speak? You're not as popular as this person." The same way that people in Comicsgate unironically said that I had no right to even interact with Ethan Van Sciver because I didn't have a popular YouTube channel, which goes to show the innate belief of all people in Comicsgate is that you have to be popular in order to for your opinion to matter. That's what they actually they say they believe that. That's not me
Which is proof
assuming
that
they
they're
believe
wrong.
that. That's not an assumption on my part. That's something that they all unironically believe, and not a single person in them ever said, no, that's not true. All of
And I
them
can
backed up
dismiss
that
them.
opinion.
I can dismiss them out of hand for exactly
Yes.
the same reason.
Yeah, they don't have real opinions. They have fake for show opinions. And that's an example of them. But this was another example of that, was some people being like, this guy's comic is more popular than you guys. And it's like, well, we're still right. And that's in no way an argument against anything we've said. So therefore, we're objectively correct. And you failed to present you arrived, failed to present an argument, and lost the argument. And that's who
You stepped into the ring, shat your pants in front of everyone,
Yeah.
and then stood there smug about it.
And then snapped your own neck on accident, and you still want credit for in some way trying to fight when you didn't. You lost immediately. It's very strange, very weird.
When your
behavior on
parents
parts.
bury you, they will claim that you won, and they will also use your real name
They will
on your tombstone.
They'll use your birth name, and you're fucking. Someone's gonna have to do something about that.
And your real gender.
Yes. And then they'll
They'll
find
point
your
out
skeleton and be like, your skeleton shows what your actual gender is.
And you were actually male.
And speaking of which, anyway, so the big female monster fights a thing and
It
bites
just bites
the helicopter.
Just bites the helicopter, and then it's gone.
And then this guy punches a guy in his helmet, which I don't really believe. I don't know about what's supposed to be. I guess he punched the guy in this helmet. It's supposed to have taken him out.
What use is a helmet if it can't block somebody from punching you?
I'm pretty sure that's the point of a helmet. Anyways, the girl picks up a shell, and I gotta say, this is one of the laziest effects I've ever seen of just the insignia clearly just photoshopped, slapped right over the shell. And first of all, why would you put that on your shell? I mean,
The shell casing, but it's also like it's not drawn correctly. I just got to say, and again, this is not a huge issue.
no, it's
but
not very
this
important,
is-
but the way the insignia is clearly just copy pasted over the fucking drawing of the shell here.
Yeah, the perspective is all wrong, including just the shell. Forgetting about the insignia, the fucking shell is like angled.
You know
forward,
what?
but
Yeah,
you can't
it's
see
a
the top.
little bit nitpicky, but it is incorrect. The way you see the bottom is angled downwards, but then the top, you should be able to see slightly into the top of the empty shell. but instead it's just flat across, which is anatomically incorrect.
It's incorrect fucking
Again, that's a minor flaw that
drawing.
I think the insignia just being slapped over the shell is much more of a glaring flaw. But it's sort of like at this point, and it's like I don't
It's
care.
also kind of one of the problems if you're doing like panel by panel, kind of like with guided view, is it gives you a close up of every single panel. So if there's a flaw, it shows up clear as day.
I would almost say cut these in half and upload twice a week or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, you
That's
get
just my
so much
opinion. That
material,
part's just
yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah. If I was doing this, if I was making this, drawing this completely on my own, I'd be trying to space it out a little bit more than that.
Now, I think like that he drew freehand, and that's not easy. That's tricky. A technical detail like that is not easy to draw freehand without a model. The gun he draws here is you can kind of see it's drawn over like a 3D model, and that's fine. That's in a way it's like, oh, it's cheating, but to be honest, it doesn't. You can tell he at least drew it and fucking put some work into the drawing of the model over the model, and it's like, yeah, that's fine.
He traced it. That's kind of like Leonardo da Vinci with like fucking the Mona Lisa. And it's like, I'm painting this fine lady here, and I'm using her as a reference. It's just like, you trace.
You trace. Yeah, the fucking.
It's like I can't. I'm not going to complain about. I'm not going to complain about somebody's art if they're actually trying.
Yeah, even if they're tracing technical details, you kind of need to, because getting, again, like this shell shows, getting the exact aspect and the perspective and all that shit proper is incredibly difficult even for experienced artists. And most artists do just use a model and then draw over it. And that's fine, because it makes sense. And otherwise you have it look all kinds of fucked up and wonky, and like it doesn't match and that kind of shit. But anyways, the problem I really have with the art is that when the kid brother is like, found ammo, and it switches to this really goofy, very blatantly cartoony style.
Super deformed,
Yeah.
fucking ultra anime shit.
The art in this overall looks kind of different. I don't know. It looks sort of like he's drawing it faster, and it's like, whatever. Because again, he's drawing a lot.
It's not like it's a whole bunch worse or anything. In fact, I would say I can't really tell the difference between if it's higher quality or lower quality.
Even when he changes styles and that kind of shit. But so what I was pointing out earlier that we derailed ourselves over is that I was talking about the last week update, and I was talking about why there's no reason for these characters to be teamed up together. And I was saying that really what you should do, it's harder to do, but you should have these characters split. You should have these characters like they rescue. If I was writing this, and again, you can go back to last week in our Discord at least, because I'm pretty sure that's where it was. But last week I was saying if I was writing this, I would draw it, or I would write it so that the guys, they match up with her, and they're like, okay, we don't know who you are. And again, last week the comic was about like she doesn't know who she is, but she has the insignia of the evil bad guy of Evil Corp, the evil organization. And it's like, you have this insignia of the evil organization, and you have one of their weapons, and you don't know who you are. Sounds very sus, and be like, okay, we're gonna fucking, here's the human resistance holdout or whatever, or the human pocket of remaining survivors is this way. We're gonna go in this other way. You go away from us. Whichever way you go away from us, because we don't trust you, and we're surviving out on our own.
Yeah, well, you're not our responsibility.
Yeah,
But
also, she could be a liability for all they know. So there's no reason for them to be teamed up. There's no reason for them to trust her.
If the situation is serious enough, if they're really trying to survive in like a post-apocalypse world.
Yeah, because what if she was a plant, and it's like she has the insignia and stuff, so it's be like, okay, we're not going to have you as tracking us or tracing us.
That, or they could stay together if they immediately demand that she is like going to be their slave or something.
Yes.
She has to demand She has to
piss
swear
fuck
fealty.
slave.
She has to swear fealty, and it's immediately making me think of this other panel down here, where as it turns out that she is a liability because she has this backpack that had their food or something, and it's
Yeah,
got a hole
that
in it.
was shown
Oh
in a
no,
previous page where like she gets
I had
slashed
forgotten.
across
Yeah,
the back.
yeah, I had forgotten that, so I didn't remember. It was like, did they show when this happened? I don't remember.
Hmm.
But oh no, her backpack has a hole in it. Her fat, juicy ass and thighs just on fucking perfect display.
Yes. But
She would have
anyways,
to go baseline with every guy at the base.
yeah, and so the guy tells her, you're too much of a risk. From now on, you and us will be going our separate ways. And I thought that's really weird because a week ago I was saying that's what they should do, and now they are doing that. And it's like, did the story change? I can believe that he wrote it this way, but to be honest, it's such a weirdly sudden thing to happen that it kind of looks like he changed the story after an entire week of me pointing out that something different should happen, that they
Well,
should
this is
not
more.
trust her at all.
Was this just 1 week ago, or was it more than that?
This page was just came out today, and it was at least a week ago, maybe longer, that I pointed out that they have no reason to trust her, and what they should do. If I was writing this, they would tell her, "Here's where the human pocket is. Go live with
I'm pretty
them."
sure it was more than that. I'm pretty sure it was more than a week ago.
Yeah, it feels like it was at least 2 weeks. I don't
But that's
know.
also the thing is, wasn't some of that behind the paywall, or was that the free
It was on the Discord. I'm
fucking?
pretty sure it was entirely on the Discord and not in any way in it. See, these videos take work to do. And we did a lot of other shit in the past. We've done a ton of
In
videos,
fact, yeah,
giant videos in the past
I
week.
have some big announcements I could make, but the simple fact is that it's like it's a little too early. But I've gotten a lot of stuff done just in the past couple of weeks now.
Yeah, you've
That's like,
actually
oh,
been
I can.
writing a bunch. You wrote a whole new comic. Well, not in it just in the past week or two, but
Well,
you've been working on it for a while now.
I finished the final draft. It's basically
Ugh.
the final version of an entire 20-page comic. And in fact, I think technically another 20 pages because they were already nearly finished as they were.
Hmm.
And they're also near genius perfection.
Genius stuff.
Genius. Genius.
Anyways, so yeah, the I was talking about this though on the Discord because sometimes on the Discord I'll just be like, "Oh, here's the new comic," and then I'll just talk about it because I'll just type it out, and it's easy. It's easier to just do that and fire it off. That's what our original blog used to be. Was we would just read a comic and I would just type out my thoughts about it while I post the images into a post, and that would be it. And we didn't do videos. We didn't do any of that shit because fucking fuck videos. And I'm not my fucking usually to stop and do a video means I have to stop doing a lot of other busy work and important shit. And people should really just be paying us more to do these videos because these videos are so good. But I'm not going to stop what I'm doing every time and do a video, even though if we did, we would have better documentation of us pointing out this kind of shit. But
I
again,
mean, we should
it was at
need
least a week
documentation.
ago,
That's what
maybe
really
longer.
bothers me.
Um, but it was also before we did the videos about Lightbringer, which, again, a big 5-part giant thing of us reading Lightbringer. It's so
I think
great. Probably one of our best video series we've ever made, and it's
was the
behind
first
a
part.
pig wall.
The first part went up for free.
Yeah, the first part's up for free, and I'm thinking of making a little clip bit of part 2 just to hype it a bit more. But again, there's so much good shit on our paywall. The best videos are behind the paywall, and some of them are only $1. Most of them, in fact, are only $1. And then for $5, you get even more videos, even better videos, to be honest.
You get the real treasure trove.
Yeah, but anyways, I was pointing out that, if I was writing this, I would make them be like, we don't know who you are, so let's split up. You go over there where the humans are holding out, find them, and then do an arc where she hangs out with the human pocket of survivors or whatever.
Yeah, she has to journey alone on the way there or
Yeah.
something.
And introduce some new characters, introduce some dynamic between her and them, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know who I'm doing," and they're like, "Well, you can help us out by doing this," and then it's like, "Oh, we need to scavenge over in this direction. There's some possible things that we can use, but it's very dangerous. And she's like, I'll go, I'll do it. And then she meets up with the two characters again.
It's like, you got to pay your way to be here if you're gonna be here and help us out. You got to do more than just fucking be sitting around and
you can't just
sit
around and eat our food and take up space. You got to fucking help us.
We need women here to be baby makers, so they fucking just run a train on her.
Fucking jackhammer her dick sucking lips. They even fuck her nose. They fucking shoot loads of cum into her nose.
Her nose, ears. They shoot loads into her eyes.
They
spraying her in the eyes.
They fuck her nipples, just like I've seen in my Japanese animes.
Which technically is it. I remember one of the only fucking actually amusing things Tank ever said, and this is before he lost the plot. But it's like somebody explaining to him, it's not physically possible to nipple fuck a woman because there's no actual holes for you to do that. And his response to that was, "Yeah, that's why real women are inferior." And it's like that's a good one.
He was basically he used to very openly espouse 3D PD.
Yes, he would exactly justify why he didn't like real life women.
But he probably got that from 4chan, and he was saying that to impress us.
Yeah, 4chan and A and whatever the fucking hentai boards, and of course,
and D, of course,
and D and B and any other place that he usually frequents.
Probably just A and D, to be honest.
Yeah, probably especially A. Where he probably draw fagged a bunch of drawings.
Maybe I as well, but
then they also fuck her in the ass and cunt.
In that order. And then the mouth, also in that order. But anyways, yeah, okay. Well, let's say that doesn't happen.
And then she has to go and take her tomahawk and go scavenging, and that's when she discovers her powers, even though she's drenched in jizz.
But also, she finds horrific tentacle monsters that are also looking to breed her, and guess what happens next?
You won't believe what happens next.
Or maybe you will. If I was writing it, I would go with it. You can't do that on webtoons. You can't do that on television.
Oh, are you not allowed? You can't fuck that elf. You can't rape that elf on television.
Yes. But yeah, you can't have nudity basically of any kind on webtoons. You can't even suggest nudity on webtoons.
That sucks.
Especially like female nudity.
How are you gonna post episode 2 of fucking Villains of Snowsea?
Well, I'm gonna basically leave out several pages and panels. That's how I'm gonna do it.
Well, that's too bad.
It is. But again, I'll be selling the uncensored version on fucking Comixology will allow that, and then the Amazon too actually does.
Do they allow like swearing or anything? Because I'm trying to fucking be like in my comic. It's like I want to make this as it's got to be PG-13. Pretend you're 4-year-old.
You can have swearing on Webtoon at least and Tapas, but
I guess so.
There's also clearly a fucking some kind of limit to that. Like you can't go hard and word and fucking that kind of shit.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, I'm not going to be doing that in my new comic.
But I mean, they just said "fuck" in this comic, and you can get away with that.
In particular is it's like pretend your 4-year-old child, your 4-year-old son is reading this webcomic. My 4-year-old son watches Arthur.
And he wants to be gay, just like the fucking rat on TV.
Just like the teacher.
Just like the teacher. You should be gay like the teacher. I can't believe that was in the theme song of Arthur.
It's just a song.
It's just a song. Anyways, so yeah,
I guess we're done.
Like I was saying, and now I'm speculating that these plot elements were in here before this, but I can point to the
I would say
last week or before that on our Discord where I was saying they should force the girl out of their party.
In fact, I would say we can take credit for this until proven otherwise.
Yes. You know what? I believe that. I can go with that. But yeah, yeah, anyone can verify that. Just go on our Discord and fucking look. I'm pretty sure I just post the updates to this and I talk about them in the Comic Liberty channel, and you can just scroll back a fucking week or so and check out me talking about this. But it may be over a week ago. Yeah, I don't know. I fucking legitimately forget. There's so much shit has been happening recently. We've been doing a lot of really cool, interesting shit recently, so it's easy to lose track of all the stuff. But again, a lot of the stuff I said should happen. She should go meet up with the human resistance, find new characters there, at least for a set of chapters or episodes or whatever, and then she finds her way back, like maybe out in the wild. She finds the two brothers again. She rescues them. They're like, okay, you have earned our trust again, and then they team up to be a more regular team.
And she finds out what her superpowers are, whatever the fuck her superpowers are supposed to be, because we still don't know yet.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. And that's the thing. We don't know yet. I could make up my own things, but I leave it to Odie to decide what they're supposed to be. But if I was writing this, it would be more concise. It would have better storytelling, less exposition dumps.
I could leave
and
this
I've
up
shown
to
that.
Odie.
I've actually shown how I have already done that. So that's not just me saying things. I've put my money where my mouth is, and I've proven that I can do that better than this comic does.
We can, and we are better.
Yes. Anyways, that's the end of this chapter. And then here's again, it's always weird. It's like, check the fridge again. Expectations, a bunch of hearts, and then reality, it's empty. Which is, again, pity party of one, and then not true, because he's constantly getting love for this comic.
He's getting so glad-handed. If I were him, it's kind of like, what was the other thing? The other thing with Tank, where he's like, don't hugbox me, so we perform Operation Hugbox to annoy him.
And it was just driving him insane, and we were laughing. But I have a feeling secretly Tank loved it.
Because he's gay.
Because he's gay.
But yeah, that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what he's doing to himself here in this comic with these fucking panels right here. It's like, why doesn't everybody love me so much? And then just comment after comment of people telling him this is the best comic they've ever fucking seen in their entire lives. Yeah. I would be insulted, literally, personally, if I were him.
I would be insulted to see this. Literally pages of fucking... shit. This is funny, though. Here somebody says, why do creators like to draw hair on eyes? It's uncomfortable in battle and in spotting enemies. 3 down votes, no up votes.
Oh, no. Somebody got fucking
somebody got their fucking ass blasted with that one.
Is that the fucking... Yeah, like the top comment is 80 thumbs up, though.
Yeah.
It's like these people are... It's such a fucking... It is a literal pity party.
And yeah, fucking... again, the fridge. It's all empty and webs and spiders. Meanwhile, the actual hearts, 340 just for this fucking chapter that just went up today. Or yesterday.
The top comment, I just want to say seeing Odie working for Tomahawk Angel is one of the best experience in my life.
Space. Yeah,
fucking how the fuck... It's just a comic, and it's not even that good.
Yeah, it's like Tomahawk Angel hired Odie or something? What the fuck does this even mean?
Yeah, no, it's his comic. He's not... It's just kind of mangled English, but most especially it's just the implication. This is the best thing that's ever happened to you in history, apparently, and it's like... There's nothing. Nothing has happened.
How
Do you know him?
The best experience in your life is to see somebody make their comic, and it's like... That doesn't really make any sense.
But it's just such fucking... It's such pandering. It's so fucking...
Yeah, it's incoherent pandering. It's incoherent fucking pee touches and
like this should be insulting
in a way.
It's extremely condescending. It's fucking patronizing as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to the point where, if somebody did this to anybody, it would be an insult. But it's got, like, fucking 80 thumbs up.
Anyways, yeah, so,
motherfucker.
I think that's a perfectly good wrap-up. We've gone for over an hour. I was expecting this episode to be short, but there's so much good, interesting stuff.
Well, we didn't You know what? We haven't even covered a good webcomic this month.
Oh yeah,
Or
that's right.
this week. This week, I mean.
Well, you know what I can do? Fucking, there's a, let's see, good webcomic of the week. Why don't I do that?
Yeah,
Uh,
was there the fucking... We did see Skyla finally get just shit-hammered.
oh yeah,
Just
that
absolutely
fucking,
railed.
that dude. Here's one thing I'll give, and I fucking can't link this to you. Somebody on Twitter named Matt Dawson at Saint RPH just says this made me laugh, and it's them linking to actually it's them linking to lastplacecomics.com, so it's not the same guy, but he linked to a comic by Last Place, and it has these fucking posted in RT by fucking blah 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 on Reddit. So it's got these pointless fucking extra watermarks and shit. But the original comic itself, Last Place Comics, I'm vaguely familiar with, where it's a guy in a mocap suit in a green room on a green square with a green stick in his hand going, "We ride," and it's like, cut, great job, Ted. And the guy in the mocap suit goes, "I have to admit, I feel a bit silly doing all this. Don't worry, it'll all look great once we add the CG." And then later, in the actual movie, is him still in the mocap suit, completely unedited, but the area around him is an alley. He's riding a trash can and he's holding a fucking dead cat. "We ride," and then the audience, or not the audience, but people are saying, "What a dipshit! That's Ted the actor for you, not today, goblins." And just all the people in the theater laughing as he is sitting there fucking just angry in his fucking seat watching this. So that's the good webcomic for the week.
Which webcomic was that?
It's called lastplacecomics.com. Also at Last Place Comics on Twitter, and then last underscore place underscore comics on the Insta, I guess. And again, it's just somebody else posted this, but at least they didn't crop out the guy's credits. So I could go to Last Place Comics on Twitter, but I didn't. I just showed this because, again, a good webcomic for the week. Because it's just simple, straightforward. It's 5 panels, and it's funny, and it's got a funny fucking punchline.
All right. Well, webcomics are great.
And in fact, it has the technically the punchline is the final panel of reaction or facial expression is the final thing. But again, that it's really effective. It works.
I hear people are getting tired of that.
Yeah, but at the same time, see, here's the thing: we've pointed that out in comics as when it's not effective or when it's fucking lazy. But in this, it's an example of how it works, and I think it is a good. It's a good teachable moment, you could say. It's a good learning experience to show that, there's always exceptions, or there's always some ways you can do the same thing differently. That does work. Sometimes it does work. Sometimes it doesn't, and we point out why. Usually, in this case, it's just a funny set. Like if you took out the last panel, it would still be funny, but adding the last panel just adds to how it's funny. So that's good. Anyways, again, a bunch of videos going up on your Subscribe Star with all sorts of huge amounts of extra stuff, reviewing, reading other comics, web comics, and
great
getting
content.
into doing huge deep dives on all sorts of shit. Behind the paywall on our Subscribe Star linked below.
No one else is covering this shit.
Yeah, no one else is talking about this shit.
They should be, but they aren't.
Yeah. So spread the word to the normie cattle that Shitty Webcomics is reviewing actual webcomics again. And, if you want to check out all of the deepest lore and all the extra bonus videos, donate to our Subscribe Star. At least $1 will get you access to some stuff. $5 gets you access to all the stuff. And you can suggest a webcomic on our Curious Cat, which we plan to look at some point. I haven't actually done it. We've been so busy with all sorts of shit. Like, just covering these comics every once in a while should be good enough for you normie cattle. But like, share, uncomment, resubscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, unhit the bell, and should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.